So it's all cheers. It's all cheers.
So Dave, if it's a small finger cut or something, are going people getting charged or how does?
Yeah, so we bill, through our services, we have a billing company that bills for our services, and we get a percentage of that, and they get a percentage to do the billing for us. Fire call we bill for now. Most people don't realize in your insurance policy, you have $500 if we come to your house fire or have a fire that you're paying for right now and paid all your life, and we can get $500 from the insurance company for showing up. Does that cover our costs? No, but at least it's something. And that helps keep taxes in check too, if we can bring in revenue. So we went to almost bringing $1 million in revenue just for fire rescue. So, our budget might be 1.7 million, Lance, but it only costs the taxpayers $580. So we're really cheap compared to a lot of the city departments because we have the option to bring in revenue and bill.
Can you give a sample billing, like for a finger cut to a fire, just in general?
Oh, it depends on if the ambulance call goes from basic life support to advanced life support, there's different rates you can bill. I mean, if we have to start an IV or we got to give drugs or something like that, that's a higher billing rate than just putting a Band-Aid on your finger.
So if that person's going to have homeowners or home, how do they pay?
So they pay through their insurance or private bill a lot of times. Now, I've had people ask me like car accidents. We bill a lot of money for car accidents. We go out and clean up antifreeze and the racks. And we've had people say, well, we pay taxes. I said, I get that. Taxes are what buy that equipment, buy that rig, but you get a service fee if you use the service. Your taxes put water mains in the ground and swimming pools in, but you still got to pay to swim and you still have to pay for water. The taxes do your infrastructure stuff. So I have to explain that to people sometimes because they're like, why did I get a bill? I pay taxes for the fire department. Yeah, you do. And that's what buys the turnout gear at $2,000 a person. And that's what buys that $1 million fire truck. But if you use it, why would I bill Lance for it when Lance didn't use it? But Lance paid taxes to help provide it for it. And that's helped us out too when we have guests come to town and they shop here but they don't live here. They're paying local option sales tax. So that helps pay for the fire trucks and things too that show up. The last couple of trucks we bought out of local option sales tax, which to me makes sense because then everybody's paying for it because everybody has a chance to use it whether you live here or not. Because you might live in Sioux City, but you come up here and your car catches on fire. We show up, we don't ask you where you live. You don't live in the Mars, we don't let your car burn. We can't do that. So that helps support those causes too. But the main thing like tonight, I don't want to get too carried away, is the need for a facility. We've made this work. We've made the other building work. It's just we're out of space now. Staffing needs to put people places and vehicles. If we have to add, I don't know what the future's going to bring. If I need an Antax response vehicle, or we worried about COVID, all the stuff we're going to have to buy for COVID equipment. Where do you store it? Where do you put it? If we need another ambulance in the future, you got to have a place to put them, and it needs to be a place where you have your people. So you don't have to chase all over town. You just saw how fast that truck got out the door. It's a lot faster now than what it used to be. It'd be 9 minutes sometimes. Now we're getting to patients in 3 minutes from the time you call. So that's a good thing. And it's the town that needed that. We're still growing. We're looking to double in size in the future. Well, we've got to go with it. Anything this town does affects fire and public safety. I don't care if it's close a street, build a building, add housing, it affects us. Everything they do here affects us. So we got to we're playing keep up right now. We're trying to keep up. We're not ahead, we're just trying to keep up, or catch up. And this is one of those things that the community could be really proud of. We passed the school thing. This is probably the next step for a community to show when you're trying to get people to move to town, you're trying to bring in businesses or keep businesses. We can show them that with this stuff, we keep their taxes in check, and it's cheaper to have your business here than in some of these other surrounding communities around us or even throughout the whole state. So it's a good thing. But we've got to have a facility. We really do. Hi, Deb.
Hey, I think speaking of that, two of the things that's probably been a great addition to this community is the fact is response time. I think if I remember right, it used to be like 6 minutes from the time the call came in until people had to get to the unit to get out.
Yeah, we've helped with EMS response time and fire response time, now that we have people on staff.
Right.
Absolutely.
Today is what? What's the response time on the?
Well, the truck's out the door in a minute,
Yeah.
and we're getting to people in 3 minutes and 30 seconds
We've
on
saved
average.
some lives over here.
Oh, yeah, it helps, you bet.
I think
There's
the
no
other-
doubt about
The other addition that's really supported this town, and it's been good, is out-of-town transfers. For example, like Sioux Falls and wherever you go.
that.
That's been a real asset to this community also.
Yeah, I think, our hospital, we work with them very well, Greg and Cherokee, that's what they do. You can make money on transfers, but it's taking care of your taxpayers. And when these other services shut down and they're not available, like a Siouxland paramedics or Midwest ambulance that might be 6 hours before they can get up here to haul your family members somewhere, we're doing the best we can. The problem we're having here is staffing. We're still a 911 service, so that's what we focus on. And then we take these transfers when we have people and we can, but we still got to cover the 911 stuff, the emergent stuff, and that's where you got to play a juggling balance sometimes, so, yeah. But stations don't put out fires, and stations don't, respond to ambulance calls. That's staffing and equipment. But locations of stations and being able to operate out of them help that whole system work. It really does. I don't want your family members sleeping in a bedroom without a window. Our city code says we should be doing that, and we've got it here. So we're looking to fix our issues, and that's all we look for when we do inspections, is if people have a problem, we want to see a plan to fix your issues in the future. So, Brittany, what do you want to add? I'm drying out here.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah. FEH has been great. The council graciously gave us some money a couple years ago. We did some just preliminary drawings of what the building would look like. The council gave us some ARPA money. We had some private donations to buy the ground from Mr. Schuster. He's been nice enough to mow it for us and take care of it yet. He said it's his serenity. He puts his headphones in and just mows and listens to music. Clears his mind, so he doesn't go crazy at work. So that's a good thing. He's been taking care of the yard down there, so we haven't had to mow it. So that's been nice too. People take care of us and we take care of people. That's our model. We take care of everybody. And, our donations have been great. The public's been great supporting us. So we're hoping that the people that support us show up to vote for it. It's an off election year, so I don't think we'll have a ton of people show up like you do during an election year. But if we can get the people that support us to show up and vote, I think we can get this passed. And it'd be a great thing for this community in the future. I might not be here to see it. I'm full of cancer. I've been fighting that for a long time, about 4 or 5 months now, but it's in the works, it's in the drawings, it's ready to go. It's just got to get to that public vote. And that was the last thing on my list before I was going to retire anyway. So that's one of the last goals we had. We've got a lot of the other stuff in place now. The guys are doing a great job, the gals, so we'll see how things go.
Dave, you've done a great job of looking for the forward for the future. It's not built for today, but it's not oversized. It should grow and be appropriately sized for Lamar's plans. So.
Let's give Dave a hand.
If you don't have council support, administration support, and you don't have your staff support, then you might as well forget it. We've got all that going on. We really do. We've got a great group of,
Guys here.
Yeah,
Chief, if it passes, when is it the timeframe for it to move into something
if
like
it
this?
passes, I'm gonna shovel a load of dirt the next morning. You're probably looking at 27,
Okay.
2027, at the end, maybe fall of 27, depending on contractors and bids and
Gotcha.
material availability. And so if we put on the ballot November 25, get started in 26, finish in 27 hopefully. So yeah, yes.
So Dave, I know that you just said that you're just under $1 million for revenue. GMT is really hanging there by a limb right now. How much of that funding will go away if the GMT goes away?
We get some GMT, but most of our billing stuff is what we base about 680,000 on billing alone. But you gotta remember, Greg, we bill on the fire side too, so when I
Yes.
say the $1 million, that includes our fire revenue too.
I knew that when I
Yeah.
left, it was about 80,000, and I didn't know if that was
Yeah, we're
going to
about-
be a big.
Yeah, we're about
Yeah.
680, And without the GMT, that's where we'd be, 680, and then we bring another couple $100,000 for township money for fire, covering rural, and billing for fire calls. We bill for inspections, we bill for extinguisher training, CPR classes and all that, so, you know, we've been able to offset a lot of costs, which is nice. I can't publicly say that we're the cheapest taxing entity in the general fund, really, of everybody. When you think of streets, parks, library, police, and everything, we're the cheapest, even though we probably have the most expensive equipment and operate out of 2 buildings, because we're able to generate revenue where others can't.
Okay, would you explain what GMT is? What's GMT?
So that's basically a supplemental fund we get to offset costs through the state. Greg, you can explain it better than
It's,
anybody.
Medicaid, so let's say the fire department goes out, or the ambulance goes out, and it's a Medicaid patient. He may bill $700 for an ALS call and $20 a mile. Well, Medicaid nicely says, we're
Nope.
gonna give you $2 a mile and 156 bucks.
Yeah.
So what it is it says, okay, how much did it cost you to operate as an ambulance service? For every call that you went to, you divide it by the number of calls, and the state says, okay, pay us, and that draws down federal dollars. You pay us 40%, it draws down 60%, and they give you back 100% off of those Medicaid calls to bring your revenue
John,
back.
I thought you were on the call. I can let you, what are we bringing in GMT?
About 12,000 a month-ish, plus or minus. It just depends, some months it's more or less, depends on how many Medicaid calls we run.
Yeah.
And we chose that many years ago, previous administration chose Medicaid over, they had a choice of Medicare or Medicaid at the time, they chose Medicaid as the insurance provider that they would do the supplement on. Other agencies in the area do different insurance
I mean,
companies.
you never get what you bill,
Yeah.
you know,
So- But in order to get that 60% federal funding offset, you have to do the GMT, and it takes, Greg's has done it before, it takes a lot of hours. It takes probably about 2 weeks to fill out all the data. They want everything from square footage to what your water bill is, to your salaries, to your benefits, to how much fuel cost is, how much repairs you put into your equipment, ambulances, you know, and they want it itemized, to the point, last year they found something on there, like there was tires and it wasn't listed to what vehicle. So we had to find out what truck got those tires to make it account. Oh yeah, it's like
it's crazy.
finite. And we made an error once, it was the year we got the brush truck, that the skid unit didn't get crossed off. So they tried to depreciate the fire skid unit, which is the pump unit on the back of the pickup to put out gas fires. So we had to go back and readjust everything because that didn't get crossed off.
It's your typical.
When you look at it,
insurance,
300
you know,
pages of
like,
spreadsheets,
you
you
want
want
it back, you know, I give it to you. So, I mean, we all deal with that with our own sometimes. No offense, Rob. You know, it's it depends on the company. How's that sound?
And we
So
send it
it's-
to them, and they send it back, and we send it to them, and they send it back. And it's about 4 or 5 interactions back and forth with the auditor, and finally they just agree.
And then just one final question, I know that Lamar's is projected to grow quite big. How many bays are you gonna have open with the equipment that you have now with the new fire
In the
station
future,
for future?
it'll be about 4. 4 more trucks, if you needed 4 more trucks.
That's what.
And that's what Brady said, we're not overkilling it, but yet, if this building's gonna last 30, 40 years, you better have room for a few more things. Which, when this building was bought, we thought we did, you know, now we got a 3rd ambulance, and we've had to have 1 more grass pickup because of the way the grass fires have changed over the years. You know, I can't believe how things have changed with calls, and, you know, we go where we have 3 500-year floods in 12 years, to where it's so dry, we have so many grass fires and field fires, we can't keep up some days, so it just is I never thought we'd have 1 pickup, let alone 2, but it's just the nature of the beast.
Tell you what the other 4 can use it for pickleball tennis.
No. I don't want you to slip and hit your head, then you gotta do it for an ambulance call, Lance, and then you're gonna be mad. Good question.
And
Good question.
just like I said earlier, I mean, honestly,
they're tough to find,
They're
especially
tough
during
to
the day.
find.
Even like us, they're not just paramedics, they're doing fire, they're doing both jobs. So we have cross-trained people. So that makes it tough to find that type of person too. You know, and you gotta pay them, and you gotta take care of them. He's exactly right.
Chief,
Can't put 'em in a
clarify
box.
Greg's question, I'm a little confused, it's nothing new, but on the bays, what, you're gonna have, how many?
So they're 2 truck deep.
They're 2 truck deep?
So there'll be 3 or 4 open bays. They'll have a truck in them, but there's a spot behind them.
Probably spaces.
Yes.
That's what he was asking.
Yes. Right now, we would be able to park the command vehicles inside the new building as well when the weather's bad, things like that, which would be nice, which is tough here when it snows and stuff, because we're just so full you can't get them out of the
I
weather.
think the volunteer comment is extremely important in this whole equation, along with, you seem to have kind of left out that your smaller communities, your Owens, your Merrills, how many of those have dropped off completely, so we're responsible for a lot larger area.
Yeah.
Just, so you kind of left that out.
So we had a grass fire with Merrill, what was that, a week ago, and we had 1 guy show up. And we had a couple ambulance calls down there recently, and had nobody. And anybody's responding to an ambulance, and that's unfortunate, but when you lose your school, like Merrill has, you don't have a grocery store, you don't have a ton of people moving to those communities, and the people that are living there have been there, and they're elderly, and they have problems. And the volunteerism, as Greg said, you just can't find those people anymore. You got 2 household families where mom and dad are both working now. So one's got the kids, the other one's at work, or vice versa, so to get them to be able to drop everything and come to a call, you know, that makes it tough too, especially during the workday. We've had to change things up here a little bit with our duty staff handling smaller calls, because it got to the point here where we get a spill or a smoke detector check or something, everybody was getting called in for it. Well, they'd come 2 or 3 times, and then we get the house fire, there's a big car accident, and their boss would say, hey, you can't leave now because you've already left twice today, I can't let you go. And times have changed, you know, a lot of people used to have that extra employee that, or the boss themselves. I mean, back in the day, my dad's here, he could attest, we had plumbers, electricians that ran their own businesses. Those guys are all working to make money now, they're not leaving for a fire. So the days I always say of the butcher, the baker, the horseshoe maker, and all that, running when the whistle blows, those days are over. Because the whistle's blowing sometimes 16 times a day. You know, and that's our issue here. Sometimes we have 3 calls a day, and sometimes we have 13. Because we don't know when they're coming. If I can plan emergencies, I get a lot more done for my wife than she would like me. But, you know, it's tough to schedule stuff, because you can't. It's crazy. Questions on the building? Anything else? Otherwise, we can do some
Hey,
tours.
Dave, no questions on the building, but, I wanna say that we've always been proud of you guys. From way back when I heard that you guys were the fastest in the tri-state area for volunteers, I know you still have most of volunteers, firefighters or whatever. I'm still proud of you guys for being the fastest in there, probably the tri-state area for being volunteers.
We've got a good group.
Yes,
And
you
they
do.
come when they can come, and we take it when they can come. You know, Wednesday night's church night here, we expect people to be here for training. So if they make 1 call in a month, or they make 100 calls in a month, they know where our equipment is, they know what we're doing, they don't mess up the wheel. So they're very good about making training. We'll have 98% of the people show up for training nights. And they come to calls when they can come, and we use them when we can. But that's where, like I said, we've had to offset with our full-time group, just because of the daytime stuff mostly. But, you know, a lot of volunteers don't like getting up for a cut figure at 3 in the morning either.
They
But
still
they do.
Most
And
of
then
our
they go back to
families
work. You know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, it's 30 below 0, and they're here, and at 7, you'll see them at their regular job. God bless them. I mean, we got a good group, so. We just need a little public help now. We're here to help the public all the time. We need the public's help on this project to get it done. Okay? They're not gonna back in the building, they're gonna stay outside, right? Yes,
Are you sure this is gonna be big enough?
yeah.
You're not gonna have to build on?
I wouldn't think so, because we still have this building to use. You know, if we're getting rid of both stations, that's not big. But with this building, having offices and we can keep trucks here. We gotta keep trucks on both sides. If you guys haven't noticed, we get a train through here every once in a while. 10 Train Tuesday, I call it. Blocks the whole town. It is, it's 10 Train Tuesday. So we've gotta have equipment on both sides. And for our insurance rating, gotta have at least a couple stations for our best score that we have. Could we ever get a one? Probably not, because we'd have to be totally full-time and do a lot more training and things like that. But we're only twos in the state of Iowa. So it's a good thing.
And given this on the police side, but for the increased calls, jobs or that type of thing, is that increasing?
It's everything. It's everything. For whatever reason, too, in this town, we have a suicide problem, we have a drug problem, we have a lot of issues. I always called it, my grandpa did too, Little Chicago. We have everything Chicago has. I'm just glad we don't have the numbers they have. We have bombs, we have meth labs, we have stabbings, we have murders, we have everything here. We just don't have them in there. But we got a Pope, well, we might have this Little Chicago, we might have a little Pope around here. Yeah. So, like I said, we're trying to keep up. We're doing the best we can. Other questions on the buildings? Otherwise, we'll let a few of these guys take care of all the tour like we do with the kids and show them the bedrooms and the kitchen. And our dog's over there, he's concrete, so he's the best dog to have. You're gonna have to clean up after him. And they laugh.
Before we go on that, any other comments?
No.
If so, we'll adjourn.
Oh, sorry.
Does the vote, need just a simple majority?
60%.
60%, okay.
60 plus 1, basically. I
Yep.
like the
Do you
school
guys
bus.
think the timing might be a little bit off because, okay, the school, sewer, water, parks, you know, I mean, people get bombarded and I'm not saying this, they
No, I get it.
need it.
I get it. No, I think,
Is that kind of
the
scary?
taxes for the school won't even be assessed yet when we do this. And this is gonna be such a minimal amount compared, you know, the school is what, 50 million, this is gonna be 12 to 15. So it's not that huge of an inconvenience, I don't think, on people. And I really like the timing of it because we're full now. I mean, if we wait another year or two and this doesn't go, we might end up having to add on to this building or do something different that I really don't wanna do, you know, but we're gonna have to figure something out. Makes it awful hard when we go around and do inspections and you tell